Have you ever had that feeling that you're just kind of on autopilot, living a life that doesn't quite feel like it's yours? Well, if you have, you are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're going to break down a framework for finding your purpose, and it all kicks off with one pretty surprising number. Take a look at this, 85%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's not a test score, it's not the chance of rain, no. This number represents something way more personal, something that hits home for millions and millions of people all around the world every single day. That's right, according to a global poll, 85% of workers worldwide admit that they hate their jobs. I mean, just think about that. The huge majority of people feel totally unfulfilled and disconnected from what they do for a living. It's like this massive, silent epidemic of just blah. And that, of course, leads to the big question, the tough question. Are you one of them? Do you get that Sunday night dread? Do you feel like your best talents, the real you, are just being wasted? But here's the thing. There is another way. Steve Jobs famously said this, and it really gets to the heart of it, right? Loving what you do isn't some luxury. It's the absolute foundation for doing great work and actually living a life that feels good. Now, here's the biggest myth we need to bust. Finding your passion? It's not some magic lightning bolt from the sky. Nope, it's a journey. It's a process of discovery. You know, even Steve Jobs didn't start with some grand vision. His passion for Apple literally grew out of him just tinkering with electronics in his parents' garage. It's a process, and that's exactly what we're going to walk through right now.
So where does a journey like this even begin? Well, it starts by looking inward. The absolute first step is to get in touch with what's called your authentic self. So what is that? Well, your authentic self is the real you. It's you with all the outside noise stripped away. No pressure from your parents, from society, from your friends. It's the core of who you are, what you truly want. And this is going to be our compass for the whole journey.
And hey, here's a brilliant way to start finding that person. Grab a journal and make 3 columns. Super simple. First column, R. Just write down what you're currently doing with your life and your time. Second column, should be. This is for everything you feel like you should be doing based on what others expect. And the third, most important column, would rather. What would bring you genuine, true happiness? That third column, my friend, is a treasure map leading straight to your passion.
Okay, but just knowing what you'd rather do, it isn't quite enough, right? Before you can start moving forward, you have to clear the junk out of the way. And that means facing those internal roadblocks that are keeping you stuck.
And what's the first major obstacle? Oh yeah, it's the shoulds. You know these voices. I should take this job. It's safer. I should go down this path. It's what my family wants. These shoulds, they're like invisible chains, tying you to a life that isn't really yours.
But you know, if you dig down underneath all those shoulds, you're going to find the biggest, baddest obstacle of them all. The one thing that just paralyzes us more than anything. Good old-fashioned fear. So how in the world do we deal with fear? A really critical first step is to just reframe it, to see it for what it is. And there's a great acronym for this. Fear is just false evidence appearing real. It feels so real, doesn't it? Your heart pounds, you start to sweat, but the terrible things we imagine are almost always just illusions. A huge part of overcoming that fear is learning to protect your time and your energy. And that starts by just learning to say no to things that aren't on your path. So instead of, sorry, I can't, try, thank you for the offer, but I'm unable to right now. Use alternatives like, let me think about it. And remember, you don't have to give a whole long story. A simple, firm no is incredibly powerful. Okay, so once we start clearing that path, we get to the really exciting part. Now it's time to actually define what our passion might look like by asking ourselves some really potent questions.
But hang on. First, let's get crystal clear. Passion is not just a weekend hobby or some passing interest. Passion is your why. It's something you can be deeply proud of. It's the legacy you want to leave. It's a deep, powerful drive, not just a whim. So, with that in mind, ask yourself this. What activity gets you so completely absorbed, so in the zone, that you lose all track of time? You look up and hours have passed and you haven't even thought about food. Okay, next one. Imagine for a second that failure is completely off the table. It's impossible. What huge, amazing, audacious goal would you go after if you knew you were guaranteed to succeed? And last one, this is a biggie.
If you had a microphone and the entire world had to listen to you for 5 minutes, what would you say? What message is so important to you that you'd want every single person to hear it? Your answer there is a massive clue. But what if answering those questions just gives you a whole bunch of ideas? This brings us to a final and very modern trap, the paralysis that comes from having too many passions. Yeah, there's actually a name for it. It's called FOBO, the fear of better options. This is that feeling of analysis paralysis, where you're so scared of picking the wrong, great option that you end up picking none of them. You just get stuck. And that is the real danger of FOBO. It's not really about the choice. It's about not choosing at all. It keeps you completely frozen, just endlessly thinking what if, instead of taking that all-important first step down any path.
And that really brings us to the final, most important thought. This whole journey of self-discovery, it doesn't have some perfect finish line. It only has a first step. So after everything we've talked about, what is one small, simple action you can take today to start your own journey?